System plus check.in plus invincible background plus fast.paste and refreshing text plus no Virgin Mary plus the plot is not dragging, the pace is fast, be careful when entering. The Heavenly Emperor was reincarnated and reborn 9 times, with the 9-petal red lotus as a symbol. After 9 reincarnations, he ascended to the realm of immortality and dominated the world traversing through time. He became the divine son of the 3,000 Tao continents in the immortal realm, and his father was once the number 1 on the 9 heavens and 10 earths heavenly pride list. Successfully signed into 3,000 Tao continents and received a 7-star reward for the ancient sacred body. Sign into Hongjia, the ancestral home of the Hong family, and receive a 7-star reward for double pupils. Sign into the true dragon nest and receive an 8-star reward of the Mother Qi cauldron of all things practicing the supreme immortal body in Yao Qi, inheriting the principles of the heavenly way, and embodying all phenomena. My body is the way. Embark on the ancient path of the starry sky, crush tens of thousands of heavenly pride, push past and present horizontally, and slay all enemies in the world. I'll give you time to catch up until you can't see from afar. Chapter 1. Birth of the Araguchi Hongjia, Araguchi Holy Body in Double Eyes Constitution. You are listening at novelfull.audio. P.S. For the first time writing, it's best to store it for fear of poisoning you. The 3,000 Tao continents in the upper realm, Hongjia, is the resting place of the ancient family Hongjia, with a profound and brilliant heritage. Occupying 50 daozhou surrounding Hongjia, it is known as an ancient aristocratic family and has never declined. Hongjia claims to have 100,000 mountains, 50,000 divine islands, towering pavilions and towers, shrouded in mist, and a luxurious purple atmosphere. The Hong family has stood in 3,000 provinces for countless eras, and is a glorious force. The ancestor of the great emperor was the great emperor without a beginning. There is a saying that goes, who is the edge at the end of the road? At the sight of no beginning, the road becomes empty. Today, in the sky above Hongjia, strange phenomena abound, with a purple aura reaching 30,000 miles from the east. The Qilin gallops, its feet step on the auspicious clouds, dragons sing and phoenixes dance, and the 4 sacred beasts bring auspiciousness. A floating island in the sky, outside the heavenly palace. Numerous elders stood in the corridor outside the hall, pacing around, restless and anxious, with furrowed brows and extreme worries. An elder named Hongzhu stopped and walked to the entrance of the palace to listen attentively. Apart from the mournful cries of many elders, one could also hear the cries of several midwives. "Madam, put in more effort. We'll be coming out soon." "That's right, that's it. Keep going." How could that be? Hongzhu wanted to get angry, but had nowhere to vent his anger. The Hong family used the Xuanhuan secret method to develop a strong talent and physique for this child, hoping to reach the peak of the 3,000 Tao state in the future, but an accident happened at this moment. Suddenly, the voice of the midwife came with joy. Born, it's a boy, madam, you succeeded." Outside the hall, Hongzhu was taken aback and immediately became ecstatic. He couldn't wait to open the door and rush in to take a look. Hongzhu looked at the baby in swaddling clothes. It was Hong Ting, and an 8-petal red lotus on his forehead was very prominent, which was his symbol. Hongzhu's face was filled with joy. At this moment, the baby's face was filled with confusion. "Have I traveled?" In the next moment, a mechanical sound came to Hong Ting's mind. "Ding, congratulations to the host for unlocking the system. Ding, the new check.in location has been refreshed, 3,000 daozhou, Hong family. Ding, it has been detected that the host has arrived at the Hong family. Are you checking in? There is indeed a system." Hong Ting was not very surprised. After all, it is common for the protagonist in the novel to travel through the attached system. In his past life, he often read novels and was very familiar with this routine. Hong Ting silently said, "Sign in." Ding, congratulations to the host for receiving the 7-star reward, the ancient holy body, and the double eyes. In the next moment, a strong vitality erupted from within Hongting's body, gushing out like a real dragon, with vitality as strong as a raging sea. A chaotic force enveloped the baby's entire body. At this moment, many elders seemed to see the scene of chaos opening up, all things emerging, and the creation of heaven and earth, all with round eyes and shocked expressions. Bang! What kind of constitution is such a strong aura? What happened? Subsequently, under the gaze of the elders, Hongting opened his eyes, with black and white pupils in between, reflecting each other. The runes were dense and beautiful, and his eyes seemed to be able to see through illusion. Double pupils, born divine beings. The elders spoke almost simultaneously, with roughly the same tone, all with shock and warmth. Among the 3,000 provinces, there are 3,000 different constitutions, each with its own unique characteristics. This type of constitutions, known as double pupils, can rank in the top 10 among the 3,000 constitutions, claiming to be invincible from birth and standing invincible from birth, crossing the sky and earth. However, it's not over yet. Immediately after, above the 9 heavens, there was a great change in the wind and clouds, and the sky and earth lost their color. The entire 3,000 provinces were shaken, with a vision blocking the sky and attracting everyone's attention. At the end of the sky, the phantom of a river becomes apparent, and the river surges, setting off stormy waves. A figure slowly emerged from the river, moving from far to near. Everyone saw him dressed in white, with an extraordinary temperament, detached from the world. His face was calm, and he had an 8-petal red lotus on his head, which was very eye-catching. He broke free from the shadows of the long river of time. In the void, bright red lotus flower buds appear and open, with bursts of fragrance overflowing. The fragrance is elegant and not greasy, refreshing and intoxicating, making people unable to extricate themselves. The figure in white sat cross-legged in the sea of flowers, with a swipe of her hand and a chain placed in front of her, starting to play. The melody is like the mysterious sound of the 9 heavens, clear and pleasant to the ear, very pleasing to the ear. The elders were all immersed in the sound of the chain and the fragrance of lotus flowers, with a comfortable expression on their faces, enjoying the feeling very much. Suddenly, the sound of the chain stopped, and everyone woke up in shock. In the next moment, the figure directly penetrated into Hongting's eyebrows. With a flash of brilliance, the 8-petal red lotus in Hongting transformed into 9-petal red lotus, emitting a bright red glow. At this moment, the elders standing in front of the hall finally realized and woke up like a dream. The ancient holy body. The sound of doubt sounded, and only then did everyone wake up in shock. That's right, this is the ancient holy body. That's right, this aura is right. I didn't expect that at first. I didn't realize it was really an ancient holy body. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be the immortal king in the 9 heavens. The ancient holy body can rank in the top 5 among the 3,000 constitutions, along with the innate holy body Dao Tai, Chaos Hongmeng body, Sentient Ba body, and Yin-Yang mixed element body. Hongting is located in the Xiangu era, during which the ancient holy body has no shackles, but is a complete ancient holy body that is not bound by the Tao. Even if the cultivation of the ancient holy body reaches its peak, it can be on par with the ancient emperor. With the addition of double pupils, it can even surpass the ancient emperor. Everyone couldn't help but furrow their eyebrows and look ecstatic as they thought of this. It's really a demon. At first, we had a sneak peek and didn't notice. It's really powerful. If it weren't for the immortal king's presence in the 9 heavens, we wouldn't have been able to distinguish this from an ancient holy body. Everyone exclaimed. Some constitutions, from the day of birth, have been accompanied by great road phenomena, and the ancient holy body of Hongting has multiple anomalies, with the immortal king Linjiushan being just one of them. But what is irrefutable is that the immortal king Linjiushan is the most powerful holy body vision, claiming to suppress the eternal blue sky. With the sound of a chain, the heavenly pride is buried, and the enemy is killed with the sound of a chain, which is terrifying. Hong Ting was secretly pleased in his heart. He didn't expect the system to have such a strong temperament, giving him such a strong physique, and even giving him two. If there were a system and a powerful background, I wouldn't be able to push past and present, eliminate all enemies in the world, then I wouldn't have to live in this world, Hong Ting thought, his eyes filled with longing for the future. Ha ha ha, my grandson has the talent of a great emperor, ha ha ha. Hong Zhu laughed heartily, and the smile on his national face couldn't be closed. This son can compete for a great emperor for a lifetime. On the ancient path of the starry sky, his name will surely be left, and history will tremble with it, both ancient and modern, exclaimed an elder. It's not just about proving oneself as an emperor, but also about becoming an immortal. With an invincible ancient holy body, this great world won't be boring anymore, ha ha ha, said an elder happily. At this moment, a mechanical sound reached Hong Ting's ear. Ding, the new check.in location has been refreshed. Chapter 3. Breaking the Sea of Spirits in one day, 3 years old has the elixir of immortality. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the blink of an eye, 3 years have passed, Hong family, Sangxiong Hall. Hong Ting has never left that Sangxiong Hall in the past 3 years, and rumors about him from the outside world have never stopped. The story of his birth, which led to his third ancestor, has also been widely circulated within the Hong family. In a secret chamber of that Sangxiong Hall, colorful light emanates from the surroundings, filled with various divine and alien sources, shining brightly, but some of the luster fades away. Ordinary casual cultivators and third-rate forces can only afford ordinary sources, and most of them are still impure. Only top-tier and second-tier forces can afford ordinary purebred and a few local sources. A small number of second-rate and ordinary first-class forces can only afford to use ordinary Tianyuan. Only top-tier forces and ancient aristocratic families have a large reserve of divine sources, while exotic divine sources are even more precious. Any impure exotic source can cause turmoil in the outside world. This is also why most cultivators even break their heads and enter the ancient family. It can be said that one person can achieve success, and chickens and dogs can ascend to heaven. Ting, building a foundation is the realm of the physical body, laying the foundation. After building the foundation, it leads to the realm of the four poles. Practicing left and right hands and feet elevates the physical body to a terrifying level. After the completion of the four extremes realm, the four limbs can be connected to gather the spirit sea, build the Tao palace, shape into a true body, and transform into a divine dragon. Hong Zhu explained to Hong Ting in the secret room. For the past 3 years, various ancient aristocratic families have known that a heavenly pride has emerged from the Hong family, but his physique is still unknown. Only disciples within the family can know about it, but it cannot be spread externally. Often, the saints of other ancient aristocratic families send people to bring spiritual medicine and divine sources. Some ancient families also use the spirit sparrow transmission technique to accelerate the cultivation of Hong Ting. They use the spirit crane to transmit peerless secrets, and auspicious white clouds to send spiritual fruits. Various immortal signs and visions emerge endlessly. Grandpa, now I am the four extremes great perfection. How can I enter the Linghai secret realm? Hong Ting asked. Through all the limbs and bones, we can open up the spirit sea. Once the spirit sea gathers, we can forge the Tao palace, Hong Zhu answered with a smile. Ting, as long as you break through the Linghai secret realm, I will take you to Wushidao to satisfy your curiosity, Hong Zhu continued. Upon hearing this, Hong Ting was very happy. The system issued a task 3 years ago, which was to sign in with the Wushi Bell, which is located in the Wushidao Field of the Hong family. A small number of Tianjiao cultivators in the Hong family practice day and night bathed in the brilliance of the Wushi Bell. This is also the reason why most Tianjiao cultivators even want to enter the Hong family despite their hard work. The benefits are too great and the foundation is too profound. After pointing out the path of cultivation for him, Hong Zhu left, towering buildings rising from the ground, and glory could only rely on himself. The secret method practiced by Master Hong Ting is the Great Emperor's Sutra left by his ancestor Wushi several eras ago. Hong Ting once accidentally learned that the Great Emperor Wushi was an innate holy body Tao child, who had a superior understanding of the Tao. He also created the Wushi Sutra and the Great Emperor Sutra for the cultivation of the ancient holy body, which could only be practiced by the innate holy body Tao child. His combat power is impressive. He is proud of the world and covers the sky with one hand. He is definitely one of the most powerful emperors among all. Hong Ting's body was filled with golden holy blood, swirling with golden light. He felt a sense of comfort all over his body, and his pores dilated, shining with divine radiance. Bang! Hong Ting's body seemed to be filled with thunderous roars. Opening the door, countless golden qi and blood flow, instantly enhancing strength. After a moment, the formation of the golden spirit sea. Indeed, the spiritual sea of the ancient holy body is truly golden. Hong Ting exclaimed. The vastness of the spiritual sea affects the amount of monks' magic power. The golden spiritual sea of Hong Ting is endless at a glance, even golden, shining with divine radiance, indicating that the spiritual sea is much purer than the spiritual sea of other cultivators, with endless magical power. At this moment, Hongzhu was still drinking tea and playing chess outside the Zhangqiong Hall, and his life was not comfortable. Boom! At this moment, a brilliant light descended from the 9 heavens, shining evenly on the location of the secret room. Hongzhu's eyes widened and he couldn't believe it. 9 days above, purple qi was steaming, and a qilin rushed down into the secret room. Hongzhu quickly dodged to the room. This scene made him feel that his life was not in vain. The elixir of immortality. Hongzhu's hands trembled as he touched forward, but he was met with resistance. "Grandpa, what is this?" Hong Ting asked in confusion. Hongzhu put away his shocked expression and pondered, "This is the legendary elixir of immortality. It is said that only the great emperor deserves it." Unexpectedly, the old man also had a chance to see it today. This elixir of immortality looks like a unicorn all over, emitting purple light. The aura of the imperial path permeates, and the power of the law distorts the space of the secret chamber, causing the void to collapse. Legend has it that the elixir of immortality can allow the emperor to live his second life, with a lifespan of tens of thousands of years. "Tingner, the great road treats you well." Hongzhu's Adam's apple wriggled and he was shocked. Upon hearing this, Hong Ting felt like he was living in a dream. He didn't need to extend his life yet, so he decided to put it away and put it into the spirit sea. The purple qilin is flipping and playing in the golden spiritual sea. Hongzhu couldn't help but be shocked when he saw this scene. "Old man, it took me 10 years to enter the spirit sea from the 4 poles, and you have already reached the spirit sea realm in just 1 day." Hongzhu stood still and murmured. Maybe it's 3 years of accumulation that has erupted today, and now I feel like I have endless power all over me. Hong Ting clenched his fist, a golden light flashed in his eyes, and smiled. "Grandpa, haven't you forgotten our previous agreement?" Hong Ting continued to ask. "Of course not, come with me." Hong Ting is 3 years old now, but he has been practicing in the Sky Hall and has never gone out before. Today, he can finally go out. Although Hong Ting is only 3 years old, his appearance resembles that of a teenager. His long black hair is like a waterfall, his eyes are like stars, his skin is white like snow, and there is a 9-petal red lotus in the center of his eyebrows, making him handsome and vigorous. "Tingner, you are still young. Don't underestimate yourself due to temporary setbacks," Hongzhu worried. Wushidao is a place that only a very small number of disciples of the Hong family can set foot in, and those who are qualified to come to Wushidao are not the pride of the Hong family. Even though Hong Ting is a relic of the ancient holy body and double pupils, he is only 3 years old now. Most Jianjiao can only enter at the age of 10, and the age difference is too large. Hongzhu is afraid that Hong Ting will face setbacks and will deny himself. Don't worry, Grandpa, I just want to go see Wushidao, Hong Ting comforted. It's been 3 years, do you know how I've been living these 3 years? Today I finally left the heavenly palace, Hong Ting thought to himself, very happy. Hong Ting walked out of the Zhangqiong Hall. In the distance, a figure came at lightning speed. The newcomer is dressed in white clothes and exudes a fairy-like demeanor. Farewell to the third ancestor. No need, said the third ancestor with excitement. Just now, there was a celestial anomaly. What's going on? The third ancestor was puzzled and said. Hongzhu told the story of the elixir of immortality in detail just now. Originally, a powerful breath of life had just arrived from the heavenly palace, startling all the ancestors, and even the first ancestor was awakened. Unexpectedly, breaking through the shackles of the ancient holy body and entering the Linghai secret realm can still receive rewards from the great Tao, which is actually an elixir of immortality. I'm not mistaken, Ting. From now on, all your resources will be increased tenfold on this basis. This is the order issued by the first patriarch. The third ancestor slowly said. It is not a problem to rely on external resources to support a top-tier power, as it has increased tenfold again. The heritage of an ancient family is truly terrifying. I don't know what reward the check.in system will give this time, Hong Ting thought to himself, very curious. The Tao provides the elixir of immortality, let the system provide a secret method. Chapter 4. Wushidao Field, backing to all sentient beings. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Sankiazu, Hongjia Hongzhou is the ancestral land of the Hong family, boasting 100,000 mountains and 50,000 divine islands. The influence of the Hong family is spread throughout Hongzhou, and it can be said that one hand covers the sky. On a mountain peak of the Hong family, the Wushir Bell stands tall here. This is the place where most Hong family Tianjiao cultivates. This is also known as the Wushidao Field, which is close to the main road, can accelerate cultivation, and also test strength. It is a necessary place for most disciples to seclude. The Wushir Bell can be used to test physical strength. It is a great honor for anyone to leave a ranking above the Wushir Bell, and even receive rewards from the Wushir Bell. At this moment, a young man in a black robe sat cross-legged by the Wushir Bell, ready to challenge his previous record. Hongyuan is here again. He broke his own record a few times before. Do you think this time is okay? Nonsense, he has a great physical strength, which is one of the top 1,000 constitutions in the 3,000 constitutions. He is naturally strong and will definitely go further. His figure is extremely sturdy and muscular, with various tattoos engraved on his body. Delijian Shenin. Hongyuan raised his right hand and saw a huge brown bear phantom behind him. A fist as big as a sandbag hit the Wushizhong from the air, and the huge brown bear behind also threw out its fist. Bang! Smoke and dust rose everywhere, and the immense force made everyone around take a step back, terrifying as ever. 300,000 caddies. Hongyuan is very strong, almost one of the top 10 young people. Compared to last time, it has increased by 50,000 pounds of force. Surrounded by admiring voices and fiery gazes, Hongyuan smiled slightly at everyone before stepping down and leaving. Hua Guangyishan Hongzhu and Hong Ting arrived at the Wushir Bell. Is this the Jidao Emperor's army? What a powerful pressure. Hong Ting couldn't help but sigh. Tinger, all the Tianjiao under the age of 20 in the 3,000 Dao state can leave a ranking at the top of the Wushir Bell. Do you have any pressure? Hongzhu asked with a smile. Don't worry, Grandpa. My goal is to suppress everyone of my time, Hong Ting replied. Although this sentence was not significant, it shocked everyone and all the disciples of Wushir Daoist Temple. From ancient times to the present, every person who utters this sentence possesses a physique that has shaken the past and surpassed the power of the 3,000 Dao continent heavenly pride. Is this the godson? I heard he's only 3 years old, but he doesn't look like him. Yes, I also heard that the divine son is an ancient holy body, and even has double pupils. The two of the top 10 ranked 3,000 constitutions converge together, maybe it can really suppress an era. How could it be? Have you forgotten that person from the ancient tribe? Ting is the most mysterious descendant among the new generation, and has never left the Zhangqiong Hall since childhood. The Zhangqiong Hall is a place that only the highest-ranking members of the Hong family can enter. Someone couldn't help but ask, "Are you the son of God?" "It's me," Ting replied indifferently. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone was in an uproar. Is he really only 3 years old? He's like a banished fairy from a mythological story. Even some women may not be as good as him. Why did the divine son come? Is it also to test the power of the physical body? A girl couldn't help but ask. Ting did not answer but looked at the top of the Wushidao bell. 100th place, Dragon Bull Clan, Bull Demon King, with a physical strength of 9.99 million pounds. Ting looked towards the top and looked at the rankings one by one. The second place winner is the True Dragon Clan, Dragon Sun Li Haotian, with a physical strength of 999.9 million pounds. First place, Gu Tribe, Gu Qing, with a physical strength of 200 million pounds. Ting pondered and said, "Grandpa, who is this ancient Qing?" Ting asked. Coincidentally, he also left behind 200 million pounds of strength at the age of 3 before the Wushidao bell, which has been more than 10 years now and has never been shaken, murmured Hongjia. This ancient Qing is the emperor of the ancient tribe, who has been enfeoffed in the divine source for several epochs. Decades ago, with the arrival of the Golden Age, he only emerged from the divine source and became the heavenly dominant body. Hongjia continued to explain. Ting is eager to try and can't wait to keep his ranking. System, check that Ting thought to himself. Congratulations to the host for completing the task and obtaining the Duzi secret technique subsequently. The secret formulas flooded into Ting's mind like a torrent. Duzi secret technique, attack secret technique, can evolve various attack methods through Duzi secret technique. Ting's eyes flickered with a cold light, and he raised his fist. His golden energy and blood surged, shining brightly. This aura, I didn't expect the divine son to break through to the realm of the spirit sea at a young age. Someone exclaimed in amazement. Legend has it that Deshang's ancient holy body spirit sea is very different from other cultivators. It is a golden spirit sea. Today, when I saw it, Shi Shuqing did not deceive me. Ting turned into a punch in the hot eyes and excited expressions of the crowd. Boom! Dang! This punch is different from other cultivators of the Hong family. Other cultivators hit the Wushidao bell from the air, while Ting hit the Wushidao bell with a hard-fought punch. A number suddenly appeared. 300 million pounds. The cultivators around suddenly felt a twinge of darkness, with their eardrums even exploding and their 7 orifices bleeding. Hongjia quickly protected the body of the Wushidao bell, but was also shocked to spit blood from his mouth. The bell trembles, the heavens and earth roar and tremble, shattering the void. All the disciples of the Hong family couldn't believe it. They were only 3 years old and had a strength of 300 million pounds, breaking the record left by the emperor. An ethereal voice came, echoing through heaven and earth. Congratulations on breaking through the eternal realm and leaving your name behind. Eternal Extreme Realm. The only one since the birth of the world to break the eternal limit. The physical body has always been the best. Even the ancient emperor, the mythological deity, or the same age as the ancient emperor, are by no means rivals to Ting. Terrifying as ever. Red Lotus. Ting replied, his voice resounding and powerful, echoing through heaven and earth. The divine son has broken the limits of eternity, ranking first in history and causing a sensation throughout the world. With such strength, the imperial road can compete for a lifetime of great emperor. Someone sighed. Today's Wush's Hongding, Honglian ranks first, and Guqing ranks second. The two names are engraved in the void, shining brightly. Not only that, Hong Ting had just punched the Wusher bell, and in an instant, everything around him seemed to dissipate. He was in the boundless void, surrounded by no one, only boundless darkness and a little bit of starlight. Just as he was puzzled, a figure suddenly appeared in front of him, with its back to him. The figure was incredibly majestic, emitting a strong aura of imperial power around him, shaking the world. Emperor Wusher. Only this great emperor appeared in Hong Ting's mind. Similarly, this great emperor was also the first to break through the peak of the humanitarian field and the first great emperor in history. This great emperor is also the ancestor of the Hong family. Congratulations to Red Lotus for breaking through the eternal realm and obtaining the Double Eyes secret technique and Red Lotus trapping heaven secret technique. Coincidentally, there is no secret method to cultivate double eyes. The Red Lotus trapping technique may be related to my firstborn Red Lotus. Hong Ting secretly felt delighted. In the distance, a crane flew over. Congratulations to the Divine Son for breaking through the limits of eternity and obtaining 3 holy weapons. This news undoubtedly reignited the entire audience and stunned everyone. Subsequently, 3 pillars of light flew from the sky into the Linghai of Hong Ting. The 3 holy soldiers were the goddess's furnace, the Eastern Emperor Bell, and the 4-square cauldron. What is the relationship between the goddess's stove and giving birth in Chapter 5? You're in such a hurry, Grandpa. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Please thank my ancestors for their reward, Elder. Hong Ting arched his hand. Hong Ting remained calm and composed, which earned praise from the elders present. Only saints can forge holy weapons, and a saint may only have 1 item in his lifetime. The Hong family rewards Hong Ting 3 items at once, and the rewards are terrifying. Even Hong Zhu was shocked. He had practiced for most of his life and reached the realm of a sage, but only had 1 divine weapon. His grandson, however, obtained 3 divine weapons in one go. People are more popular than people. What makes people even more jealous is the sacred weapon of the goddess's stove, which is rumored to be a weapon given to a friend by a former emperor. Haha, godson, you should make good use of this goddess furnace. A woman smiled coquettishly, while the other female disciples had slightly flushed cheeks and covered their pretty faces with both hands. At this moment, Hong Ting still had a bewildered expression on his face. What happened to the goddess furnace? Isn't it just a holy weapon? Haha, great-grandson. Remember to bring more saints home for Grandpa and have more children in the future. Hong Zhu hugged Hong Ting and laughed. Why does this sound like cursing? Grandpa, what's the relationship between this holy soldier and giving birth to a child? Hong Ting asked in confusion. Ah, there are many benefits, you will know in the future. Ha ha ha, Hong Zhu couldn't help but laugh. Hong Ting. Hong Ting plans to return to the Sky Palace and digest the achievements of this time. He needs to understand each of the 3 holy weapons and quickly cultivate the secret techniques. So he spoke up and said, Grandpa, if it's okay, I'll leave first. Hong Ting is preparing to return to the Tsangqiong Hall and digest the achievements of this time. Inside the Chamber of Secrets Hong Ting Linghai, the golden Linghai gurgles and surges, with auspicious energy surging in a fragrant aroma, not greasy and intoxicating. It is the Qilin immortal medicine that is flipping and playing in the Linghai. The elixir of immortality is the exclusive spiritual medicine of the great emperor, which is closer to the Tao and can accelerate enlightenment and enhance strength. 3 of the holy weapons are suspended in the golden spiritual sea, and with the help of the Hong family's Qiankuan secret technique and his own talent, it is very easy to explore the use of the holy weapons in a short period of time. I just didn't know how to cultivate my double pupils, so I just sent them directly to me. Hong Ting secretly felt delighted. The dual blessing of double eyes and Qiankuan's secret technique has enabled Hong Ting to learn the basic chapter of double eyes secret technique. I didn't expect the double pupils to be so powerful. Hong Ting showed a look of shock. Red Lotus trapping the sky technique. Hong Ting sat in place and began to comprehend. Linghai cultivates red lotus flowers, which briefly enhance the realm by blooming and achieve the effect of higher level battles. The most important thing is that there are no side effects. Hong Ting was overjoyed. Isn't this the treasure technique that the protagonist in the novel can use to kill high level opponents at a low level? I didn't expect to have it myself. Hong Ting fell into the stage of enlightenment. A strange fragrance seemed to come from within the body of the red lotus, refreshing the heart and soul, condensed into streams of flowing light and colors, like strands of water, enveloping the entire palace. What kind of smell is this? Hongzhu, who was drinking tea outside the heavenly palace, exclaimed in shock. Hongzhu quickly put down his cup and quickly flashed into the secret room. His grandson is now a treasure of the Hong family, and may be another great emperor of the Hong family in the future, a double great emperor of the same clan, which is an unprecedented honor in ancient times. Entering the secret room, what shocked him even more was that Hong Ting's forehead emitted a strong red light, illuminating the entire room. Hong Ting himself was also surrounded by a 9-petal red lotus. What kind of cultivation is this? Hongzhu was very surprised. He had never led Hong Ting into the Sutra Pavilion before, and had not taught any other martial arts except for the Great Emperor's Sutra. How could he start to understand the secret techniques now? Honglian is still in a state of enlightenment and cannot be easily interrupted. Hongzhu sat on the side to protect the path, intending to wait for Hong Ting to wake up before asking. At this moment, Hong Ting became conscious of himself as a little golden man, riding on a 9-petal red lotus and sitting cross-legged in the mid-air of the golden spirit sea. The fragrance became increasingly strong, as if covering the golden spiritual sea with a layer of white mist. Then, bright red lotus flower buds grew on the surface of the spiritual sea. In an instant, the golden little man in the spirit sea, also known as Hong Ting, opened his eyes. At first glance, the red lotus trapping heaven technique was tailor-made for me, but why is that? Hong Ting frowned slightly, very puzzled. Anyway, it's not important. Eternal life is my goal. Hong Ting said with a resolute gaze. On earth, immortality is nothing but ethereal and non-existent. However, upon arriving here, immortality can be achieved. If there is no precedent in the past, then Hong Ting will become this predecessor himself. I am walking on the road, even if I die without regret. In the blink of an eye, Hong Ting's red lotus bud had already covered the entire spiritual sea, with no end in sight. Open. Hong Ting let out a faint gasp, and the flower buds vied to bloom, each with 9-petal red lotus, capturing the soul. But only 1/3, I didn't expect my strength to reach the 3 heavens of the spirit sea. Hong Ting excitedly said. The Linghai realm has 9 small realms, one of which is called the 1-layer heaven, and the triple heaven is the 3 small realms. Externally, Hongzhu also felt something was wrong. He was a strong sage, and Hong Ting's rapidly increasing strength in a short period of time could not have caught his attention. He was also very worried about Hong Ting, afraid that his cultivation of magic skills would ruin his future. Do you want to? Hongzhu pondered for a moment, clenched his hands, and squeezed a cold sweat. I didn't expect the vastness of the spirit sea to exceed so many of my expectations. Hong Ting was shocked and exclaimed, countless red lotus flowers have bloomed in just one thought. It has been half a burning incense stick now, and surprisingly, only about half of them have bloomed. After speaking, Hong Ting plans to continue watching the secret technique of double pupils without wasting time. Hongzhu, who was outside, was sweating profusely, holding a handful of cold sweat in his hand. On one hand, he was afraid that Hong Ting would become possessed by evil, and on the other hand, he was afraid that interference would lead to Hong Ting's direct death. He dared not act rashly, nor did he dare to leave, for fear of accidents. Only Ting and Hongzhu know the location of the secret room, and the ancestor ordered that no one be told, only Ting's loyal servants can tell. Hongzhu is just a great power in the realm of sages. There are countless people in this realm in the Hong family, and he has no way to awaken his ancestors to help Ting. Now he can only act in a hurry. So fast. It's already the 5th day of Linghai. I'm afraid this speed is going to break the record. Hongzhu's eyes widened, his heart thundered like thunder. It's still not fast enough, how can it be faster? Ting in Linghai is feeling his chin, intending to improve his red lotus trapping technique, but it is still a bit difficult for him now. Ding, new check.in location refreshed, True Dragon Nest. Oh. True Dragon Nest. Ting wondered, did he trigger any keywords? System, when will the True Dragon Nest open? Ting asked. Ding, 5 years, it seems that I still have time. Ting said with a resolute gaze. The red lotus in the Linghai is still blooming, and the golden Linghai has now turned into a mixed color of red and gold. Chapter 7. Breaking the extreme speed realm and obtaining 10,000-year ice crystals. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ting took a crane and flew to Wushidao. He was wearing a red robe with both hands on his back, his green hair fluttering, his eyes like stars, his skin white like snow, and a 9-petal red lotus on his eyebrows was his symbol. Look, it's a godson. How handsome he is. Where is Shensi going? Nonsense, of course it's going to Wushidao. You speak every word to the cultivators around you. The sound of discussion also reached the ears of the disciples of Xiantian. They looked up and saw a young man standing like a sage with a crane flying towards them, and couldn't help but marvel. Is this the godson of the Hong family, Ting? Surprisingly, there is a holy aura, so strong. Elder, if you take us to Wushidao now, said a disciple. Yes, yes, yes. The others also agreed. Hongzhu pondered for a moment and said, the journey is far away, the cars are tired and the horses are tired. Why don't I take you to Tianji Tower to rest for a day before it's too late? A female disciple said, you don't need to neglect your cultivation, elder. That's right, we're here to cultivate and never neglect. Okay, come with me, Hongzhu replied. Which extreme realm will Lord Shensi challenge today, speed or soul power? Can Lord Shensi sign my name? Ting leaped down from above the immortal crane, and everyone rushed forward, blocking the waters surrounding the Wushidao Field. Even ordinary disciples wanted to break in just to take a look at Ting. Hongzhu led Xiantian and his team to the front of Wushidao, and couldn't help but be surprised. Is my grandson so popular? Hongzhu stamped his foot, and the crowd immediately turned around. When they saw Hongzhu, they made way for him. Subsequently, everyone looked at Ting, whose extraordinary aura was too special to be noticed by others. This aura. Even Jiang Yishui, who is as cold as ice, has a strange color in her beautiful eyes at this moment. Jiang also showed a surprised expression, with a hint of caution in his eyes. He diligently cultivates swordsmanship in order to become the first person of the younger generation in terms of speed, and to smile at Jiang Yishui for winning the title of Eternal Ice Crystal Beauty. We must not let Ting cause any harm. The extraordinary and refined young man in front of him created a sense of threat. In front of Ting, Jiang also felt a strong sense of inferiority, as if an ancient sage had faced dust from the 9th heaven, and the contrast between immortals and mortals was obvious. What made him even more unhappy was that Jiang Yishui was attracted to him. He absolutely does not allow this kind of thing to happen. I hope Ting doesn't challenge the extreme speed realm. Ting saw Hongzhu coming and quickly bowed his hand, saying, Grandpa, these people are. Hongzhu just waved his hand and said, these are disciples of the Xiantian Holy Land. Come to our Hong family to cultivate for a period of time. Hong Ting nodded but didn't ask much. He just glanced at Jiang Yishui twice and felt a familiar feeling on the woman. And the same goes for Jiang Yishui. The sunlight poured down and draped a holy cloak over this peerless beauty. Alright, let's just leave if we have nothing to do. Let's continue practicing. Hongzhu said, and everyone could only disperse. Why did you leave the heavenly palace without permission? Hongzhu asked. Hong Ting smiled indifferently and pointed to a flat area surrounded by array patterns in the distance. Of course, it's challenging the speed extreme realm, he said. A word fell and everyone was in an uproar. Since his birth, Hong Ting has only visited the Wushidao Field once, breaking through the power extreme realm once, and now he also needs to break through the speed extreme realm. Undoubtedly, a huge rock smashed into the calm water surface, causing towering waves. Hong Ting walked towards the formation pattern amidst the shocked expressions of the crowd and stepped into the light curtain. Impossible, absolutely impossible, just a child, how could it be broken? Jiangye thought to himself, very confident. He had been practicing swordsmanship for over a decade and possessed a powerful sword body. He didn't have absolute confidence in breaking the speed limit. Suddenly, an ethereal voice echoed through the Wushir Daoist temple. Congratulations to the Red Lotus for breaking the speed limit and rewarding the 10,000-year ice crystal. What? Did it really break? Undoubtedly a divine son, he has broken the eternal realm twice in a row, terrifying like this. How could it be? Jiang Ye's forehead was lined with black lines, and his eyes were about to crack. Hong Ting walked out of the light film, holding a deep blue and transparent ice crystal in his hand, emitting a chill that exposed frost around him. He had a jade crown on his face, expressionless, with no visible ripples on his face, as if all of this was taken for granted. Hong Ting shook the 10,000-year-old ice crystal in his hand without any regard, as if he still had some disdain. Eternal ice crystals. Where is it going? Compared to the rewards given by the system, they are too insignificant. Master Shensi, I want to challenge you, Jiangye said. He spent a lot of resources on this opportunity to host the disciples of the Xiantian Holy Land to come to the Hong family, just to obtain the eternal ice crystal. Wujiang Yishui smiled. More of it is also to pretend to be forced. It's good now. I didn't accomplish anything, but instead, Hong Ting put it on. In fact, Hong Ting did not install it, and he really couldn't use this 10,000-year-old ice crystal. Are you sure? Hong Ting asked in confusion. That's right, but the bet is on the eternal ice crystal in your hand, Jiangye emphasized. Hong Ting looked at the 10,000-year ice crystal in his hand and then said, no problem, but what can you compare to the 10,000-year ice crystal? Jiang Ye's face was gloomy. He was basically penniless now, using all his money to bribe other saints and goddesses for the sake of eternal ice crystals. But now he was picked a peach by Hong Ting and threw himself in the air. In earlier years, Jiang traveled to 3,000 provinces and accidentally discovered a partially damaged holy weapon in a ruins. He was willing to take this as a gamble, Jiang Yidao said. After a word fell, except for the disciples of the Xiantian Holy Land, they were all stunned in place. Pushi. Suddenly, a cultivator burst out laughing. Jiang Ye was puzzled, but also puzzled. Hong Ting smiled helplessly, snapped his middle finger, and behind him, 3 holy weapons appeared. 3 holy weapons appeared behind him, bathed in golden light, emitting a brilliant radiance. Eastern Emperor Bell, for square cauldron, goddess's stove. Jiang Ye's pupils contracted, his eyes widened, and he couldn't believe it. How could this be? Jiang Ye's heart was thunderous, screaming in surprise. If you don't have a suitable price to attract me, I don't think it's necessary to engage in this battle, Hong Ting said calmly. I never engage in loss-making transactions, and if I can't come up with a suitable price, why should I engage in a fight with him for no reason? Jiang Ye clenched his hands tightly, creaking loudly, surrounded by mocking words. His eyes were filled with fire, and his lungs were about to explode. Jiang could only squeeze out these words between his teeth. If I lose, I am willing to be a slave. Jiang Ye's move undoubtedly gambled on the latter half of his life. If he lost, he would be planted with a slave seal by Hong Ting, and he would never be able to turn over. In just one thought, Hong Ting could execute Jiang Ye. Even his reputation as the holy son of the Xiantian Holy Land was used as a gamble, and he had no way out. Upon hearing this, Hong Ting couldn't help but glance up at the young man in front of him, risking everything. However, in Hong Ting's eyes, all of this was his meaningless passion. Hong Ting raised his eyebrows slightly and said, I really lack a servant. I'll give you a chance, you can choose the location, so that others don't say I'm bullying the small with the big, Hong Ting said leisurely. It can be said that killing kills the heart. I am just a child, and Jiang Ye is almost 20 years old, yet he still bullies the young. Jiang Ye gritted his teeth tightly, blood seeping out, his eyes covered in blood, and he was burning with anger. Speaking of cheap things, don't take advantage of the bastard. Hong Ting, I will definitely kill you. Jiang Ye thought to himself and then shouted angrily, Burial Sword Domain, dare you? Why don't you dare? Hong Ting replied. Hong Zhu was watching the play on the side, and Hong Ting had been practicing for 3 years, so he really needed to confirm it. Subsequently, Hong Zhu reached out a little and the void tore apart. Hong Ting and Jiang Ye stepped into it. Subsequently, the void was restored, as if the crack had not appeared. It turned into a screen of light in place. In the light curtain, Hong Ting and Jiang Ye faced each other, Jiang Ye's mouth carrying a sneer, while Hong Ting's face remained expressionless. Light curtains are specifically designed to depict combat scenes. Chapter 6. Red and gold double eyes, unprecedented in ancient times, create your own path. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What? Linghai Jiuchong Tian. Hong Zhumeng stood up in the secret room and shouted. His eyes were filled with fire, he gritted his teeth, deeply regretting why he didn't warn Hong Ting earlier, causing the current situation. Suddenly, Hong Zhu's expression was resolute and he would not let Hong Ting continue. Perhaps there is still a glimmer of hope now. Just as Hong Zhu was planning to intervene, Hong Ting quietly opened his eyes and his cultivation returned to the heavenly spirit sea. Tinger. A nervous voice rang in Hong Ting's ear, also carrying a hint of authority. Grandpa, how could you be here? Hong Ting hesitated and said. However, Hong Zhu discovered that Hong Ting's double pupils had changed. Since the birth of the first person with double pupils in ancient times, double pupils have been black and white. Nowadays, Hong Ting is indeed one red and one gold, shining a dazzling beam of light that illuminates the entire secret room. I felt an abnormality and quickly returned, and your double pupils. Why did they become so captivating? An unprecedented scene in ancient times left Hong Zhu speechless. In the outside world, a single strand of a sage's hair can slay a cultivator in the realm of the spirit sea. However, the current Hong Ting Sutra makes him feel a hint of fear, as if a cultivator in hell is staring at him. Upon hearing this, Hong Ting also noticed something unusual. His eyes closed slightly, then slowly opened, and the luster in his pupils dimmed. Suddenly, Hong Zhu seemed to notice a slight abnormality and asked seriously, Tinger, have you practiced any secret techniques? Why did you elevate your realm so much in a short period of time? Upon hearing this, Hong Ting smiled and replied, Grandpa, have you forgotten the 2 martial arts techniques I gave you to break the eternal extreme realm? Hong Zhu's eyes lit up with a flash of brilliance, and he patted his head before answering with a smile, Look, Grandpa is in a hurry. Tinger, remember that your dual physique of the ancient holy body in double pupils has never existed before, and your future is limitless. You must not secretly learn forbidden techniques. Hong Zhu's face turned pale and he said anxiously. Hong Ting smiled and replied, Don't worry, Grandpa, I won't do it. Grandpa believes that in this golden age, you can walk your own path. Hongzhu said in a deep voice. One of the 3,000 Dao continents, Xianzhou is the ancestral land of Xiantian Holy Land. In a small world filled with fairy mist and spiritual energy, in a magnificent palace, a woman sits high on the main stage, with 2 rows of people lined up on either side of the stage. They are all the holy sons and daughters of the Xiantian Holy Land. Who would like to host this year's visit to Hongzhou? Said a woman. She was dressed in a gorgeous skirt, all golden, with a hint of authority in her words, and was the Holy Lord of the Xiantian Holy Land. A man wearing a green shirt and a horse face stood up and arched his hand, saying, Holy Lord, I am willing to host this trip to Hongzhou. The Xiantian Holy Master was very puzzled. Every time during the Hongzhou trip, the Holy Son and Virgin would squeeze their heads to seize a hosting opportunity. However, this year only one person stepped forward, which made her doubt. There has never been a great emperor in the Xiantian Holy Land, so there are no Jidao Emperor soldiers. Even the ancient family with Jidao Emperor soldiers will not let their disciples follow the path of cultivation in Jidao Emperor soldiers. Does anyone else want to host, except Xuanhuan? Master Xiantian asked in confusion. These holy sons and daughters have already received many benefits from Xuanhuan in secret, so naturally they will not compete with him. Master Xiantian pondered slightly and said, then let Xuanhuan preside over this year. Yes, Xuanhuan will fulfill her mission. Xuanhuan was excited and quickly agreed. Subsequently, Xuanhuan walked out of the main hall and saw a woman, accelerating her steps. She is like a wisp of fairy mist, flawless and devoid of dirt, as if carved from ivory, with her skin crystal clear and fair. Standing tall and graceful, with icy skin and jade bones, it is an indescribable beauty, and its eyes are like spring water. Women are the Jiang Yishui of the Xiantian Holy Land. As soon as Xuanhuan left the main hall, he saw Jiang Yishui and couldn't help but accelerate his pace, because he had been secretly in love with Jiang Yishui since childhood. How could the water fairy be here? Xuanhuan walked up and said with a bright smile. Can you join me in this visit to Hongzhou? Jiang Yishui raised her red lips slightly, her voice sounding like a heavenly melody. Upon hearing this, Xuanhuan secretly felt delighted. Even if Jiang Yishui didn't come to find him, he would still go to find Jiang Yishui. He bribed his son and daughter in order to go to practice with Jiang Yishui. Tens of thousands of years ago, a senior elder of the Hong family made a marriage agreement with a female elder of the Xiantian Holy Land, but due to other reasons, the marriage did not proceed. The Hong family wanted to compensate the Xiantian Holy Land. Every 100 years, the Xiantian Holy Land can send a saint or saint with 10 disciples to the Wushidao temple to practice for 10 years. Xuanhuan patted her chest and said, no problem. Then I'll leave this matter to senior brother Jiang. Jiang Yishui bowed and bowed. Xuanhuan quickly lifted him up and the two walked side by side. I heard that 3 years ago, the Hong family gave birth to an ancient holy body and was even honored as a divine son. I don't know if it's true or false, Jiang Yishui asked. I didn't expect the news from the water fairy to be so well informed. It's true, Xuanhuan replied with a smile. And I also heard that he is not only the Holy Eucharist, but also a double-eyed person, Jiang Yening said again. Oh. It seems that my news is not as good as yours, Holy Son. Jiang Yishui frowned slightly and said in surprise. I also heard that at the age of 3, this child has a very handsome appearance, like a banished immortal. Jiang Yishui continued to ask. Indeed, that's true. Xuanhuan nodded in affirmation. Jiang Yishui is considered one of the 3 beauties of the 3,000 Dao continent, and is also revered by most people as the #1 beauty of the 3,000 Dao continent. Most people find it difficult to say a word, but today they have been walking with Xuanhuan for a long time, which makes Xuanhuan very happy. 10 days later Xuanhuan and Jiang Yishui drove a crane away from the Xiantian Holy Land and headed to the ancestral land of the Hong family, Hongzhou. In a world full of divine light, shrouded in mist, and shrouded in spiritual energy. 10,000 mountains towering into the clouds, and 50,000 divine islands floating above the clouds, with beautiful towers and forests, truly magnificent. Auspicious energy is steaming, purple is magnificent, purple is transformed into dragons soaring in the clouds, various three-legged golden crows, and the red phoenix is no exception. Everyone, we're here. Jiangye said with a smile on her face. Undoubtedly, it is the leading family in the 3,000 Dao continents, extremely brilliant. A disciple sighed. At the entrance of Hong's house, an old man waited for a long time with a Chinese character face. It is Hongju. Everyone jumped down from the crane and arched their hands, saying, "Pay respects to Elder Hong." "Don't be like that, come with me." After speaking, Hongju turned around and everyone followed behind him. "Ling Hai is still too slow," Hong Ting said disappointedly. "Let others hear, I wish I could crash into the wall now. Is it still slow to break through the double sky in 10 days? Is there any natural reason?" Most of the divine sources around him have long been dim, and Hong Ting plans to take a look at the Wushidao Daoist temple. Chapter 8. Is this your passion? I broke 3 punches. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Burial sword domain, as the name suggests, means burying many swords. When a gentle breeze blows, one can feel the fluctuation of sword energy. In the depths of the burial sword domain, there is a canyon surrounded by crooked and broken spirit swords. Legend has it that ancient sword cultivators are capable of manipulating famous swords in the burial sword domain to attack others. Most sword cultivators come here with strength that is about 20.3% stronger than the outside world. That's also why Jiangye chose this place. Within 100 miles of the burial sword domain, there is no human habitation. It used to be an ancient battlefield, with thousands of miles of barren land and no human habitation, making it a barren land. There is no grass growing, and few people are walking. A gentle breeze blows, lifting layers of fine sand. The cold wind gives people a feeling of desolation. Jiangye held a 3-foot-long sword, with a scene of killing reflected on it. The people who were defeated by Jiangye were all reflected in the long sword. Be careful. Jiangye left this sentence, which turned into a remnant in place and disappeared. Zheng suddenly, the cold wind howled, the cold light flashed, and a sword shadow stabbed towards Hong Ting. Hong Ting was pregnant with heavy pupils, and in his eyes, Jiangye had nowhere to hide. The golden divine energy around Hong Ting was surging and surging. Evolving a golden fist seal with the holy method of fighting, it is like pouring gold, breaking through airstrikes, powerful and unparalleled, pushing everything horizontally. Bang with a punch, the void trembled, and the golden chi and blood surged. With just a crisp sound, the sword blade broke in half. The blade is broken, and Jiangye is at a loss holding the hilt. However, Hong Ting did not stop, and the golden fist continued to strike, blocking the sky and sun. Hong Ting hit with a fist, his shadow blurred, and his fist hit the flesh, attacking Jiangye. The strong pressure made Jiangye suffocate. How could it be? Jiangye is a powerhouse of the 8 heavens of the Spirit Sea. Being able to reach this level at this age can definitely be said to be a young Tianjiao, who was defeated by Hong Ting's move. You should know that every time a cultivator crosses a small realm, it is a world of difference. Can we say that the divine son of the Hong family is also a strong one in the 8 heavens of the Spirit Sea? Some people suspect that, after all, cross-level combat is a very terrifying thing, and a difference of 1 layer is equivalent to a distance between heaven and man. If you can cross the realm of battle, you need special means or powerful spiritual tools and treasures. Hong Ting's red lotus trapping heaven technique can help him level up in battles, even without any side effects, but at this moment, there is no need for Hong Ting to use it. Jiangye is really too weak. Even Jiang Yishui's pretty face showed an incredible expression, her eyebrows as if they were from a distant mountain with dye on them. She frowned slightly and her red lips opened in an O shape. Jiangye flew backwards, followed closely by Hong Ting, and then used the Duzi secret technique to perform the attack and destruction technique in the Red Lotus trapping heaven technique. Red Lotus breaking sky fist. Hong Ting's fist seemed to transform into a 9-petal red lotus, and with one punch, Jiangye's bones were instantly shattered into dozens. Jiangye felt as if a red lotus was exploding in her chest, even her internal organs were being suppressed. Jiangye felt a chill in his heart. If it weren't for his past possession of the precious treasure, which enhanced his physique, now he would have shattered his internal organs and become a useless person. Jiangye flew out like autumn leaves, with a fierce and disheveled face like a dog. If you only have this level, you probably won't be able to win against me, Hong Ting said calmly. There was no expression on his face, as if suppressing Jiangye was just a trivial matter. Jiangye stood up with difficulty using his sword handle, coughing up blood in his mouth, his whole body trembling and trembling. His Taoist robe was torn, his flesh and blood were blurred, revealing his white bones. Bang! Jiangye grabbed a holy sword from the burial sword domain, which was left by a sword enthusiast for those who were destined. Hong Ting was surprised in his heart, not expecting that he could find a way out in a desperate situation. It seems that this person is the son of luck in the novel, perhaps he can make use of it, Hong Ting thought to himself. Immediately, Hong Ting sneered coldly. If it were someone else, he would have been chilly at the moment, but it was Hong Ting standing here. A brilliant sword light struck, as if it could split the sky, as if with an invincible posture, splitting the sky. Hong Ting reached out and pinched the lotus seal. A 9-petal red lotus surrounded him, blocking the sword light. A resounding sound lingers in one's ears. It is precisely the defense skill in the Red Lotus trapping heaven technique, Red Lotus trapping heaven. Jiangye is the king of swordsmanship, and sword cultivation is his best destination. Now that he is in the burial sword domain, many precious swords seem to have a feeling, breaking through the ground and surrounding Jiangye. Many precious swords emerged from the ground, guarding Jiangye in the center. These swords, even though buried in the burial sword domain for many years, are still incredibly sharp, with a cold gleam that makes people tremble. He is truly the holy son of Shentian, who can truly comprehend the true meaning of swordsmanship in a desperate situation, sighed Hongju. Hongjia is hidden in the void. At this moment, he is buried in the sword domain, with his spirit sword dancing, even his sword spirit fluttering. Surrounding Jiangye, he sets him off like a sword god. Ting is in danger. Hongju worried and his national face froze. Ha ha ha, Hong Ting, suffer to death. Jiangye roared angrily. Surrounded by a dense array of sword souls and various famous swords left by ancient sages, Jiangye is now very confident. A breath of destruction enveloped him, and the law of destruction permeated the burial sword realm. At this moment, Jiangye seemed to transform into a sword immortal. As if one sword can cleave through eternity. I have loved Sister Ishui since I was young, and I have been practicing swordsmanship hard for her. I dare not relax for a moment. For the sake of eternal ice crystals, I have been practicing hard for decades, unwilling to accept others' orders. I just want to say, I can do it, I deserve to be a junior sister of Ishui. Subsequently, tens of millions of swords seemed to be attracted and rushed towards Hong Ting, with endless divine energy surging, as if they could split open all things in the world. Hong Ting smiled calmly and gave up his defense, saying, "Is this what you call hot blood?" He was full of golden energy all over his body, and his 5 organs and 6 internal organs were activated. His whole body was shining with golden light, appearing even more extraordinary and extraordinary. Blow out with a punch using the Duzi secret technique. The powerful fluctuations made the ancient mirror appear and the scene also shattered, until it was restored. Hong Ting was dressed in a red robe, carrying both hands on his back, and his face remained expressionless. Jiangye has already fallen into a pool of blood. Unable to withstand a single blow. Hong Ting said leisurely. Suddenly, Hong Ting saw a glimmer of light in the pool of blood, emitting a simple and heavy aura. Upon reaching out and probing, the ring instantly transformed into a token with 5 large characters written on it. True Dragon Nest Supreme. Hong Ting's eyes flickered with a cold light, and he thought of the system's task. He then spoke up, let's take this token as a bet between us. Hong Ting reached out his golden hand, grabbed Xuanhuan, and then stepped into the void. This is completely in a crushing posture. Not just crushing, the Divine Son has not even used the power of his heavy pupils. I have heard that if a person with double pupils uses the power of double pupils, it is like fighting with others' eyes closed. Xuanhuan thought he needed to take action to help his grandson break free. After all, he was still young and unexpectedly ran over Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan, who manipulated the spirit sword in the burial sword domain, was all disabled after being beaten. What would have happened without manipulating the famous sword? Everyone dared not think much, only feeling a chill in their backs. Xuanhuan stood up with difficulty and walked towards the outskirts of the Hong family, but everyone did not stop him. At this moment, Xuanhuan is like a dead dog, who would care? Son of luck, I am really looking forward to your future. Hong Ting sighed with deep eyes, looking at Xuanhuan. He deliberately saved Xuanhuan's life. Be prepared to use him as an ATM at any time. Hong Ting plans to return to the Tsangqiong Hall to continue his cultivation. With the supreme order of the True Dragon Nest in his hand, he is not afraid to open the True Dragon Nest. He doesn't know. Just as Hong Ting was about to leave, a heavenly sound sounded like a clear spring flowing into a mountain stream, soft and pleasant to the ear. Wait. Jiang Yishui extended her slender jade hand to block her. Hong Ting turned his head and raised his eyebrows slightly, saying leisurely, do you also want to argue with me? I dare not. I just want to become a follower of the Divine Son. Jiang Yishui's cheeks blushed slightly. Everyone was in an uproar, and Jiang Yishui was one of the 3 beautiful women in the 3000 Dao state. Most people believed that Jiang Yishui was the first of the 3 beautiful women and could even put down her body to become a follower of Hong Ting. Am I dreaming? Pinch me, I suspect I'm dreaming. After a moment of contemplation, Hong Ting said, okay, don't be afraid of hardship or fatigue. Thank you very much for the Divine Son's success. Jiang Yishui bowed and bowed, his eyes full of gratitude. Jiang Yishui looked at the eternal ice crystal with both eyes, and Hong Ting's eyes flashed with a shrewd expression. Hong Ting casually threw the 10,000-year ice crystal to her and said, this 10,000-year ice crystal can help you cultivate. Take it with you. Thank you very much, godson. Jiang Yishui was grateful, her voice like a heavenly melody. If you give me the ice crystal for 10,000 years, I'll give it. It's hard to find a second piece in the entire 3000 Dao continent, right? Definitely, this is what our ancestor Wushir once left behind. Besides the divine realm, it's not easy for you to find the second piece now. Hong Ting once had no idea why this thing was helpful for her cultivation, all thanks to Jiangya's words in the burial sword domain. In front of so many people, giving her the eternal ice crystal, anyone now wants to follow Hong Ting. He swept a wave of goodwill in front of everyone. Jiangya walked trembling out of the Hong family and arrived at a forest where he punched a tree down. Jiangya tried to crack his teeth and said, Hong Ting, I want you to pay the price. Suddenly, a hoarse voice sounded, very piercing. Child, I can help you. An old voice rang in Jiangya's ear. Who are you? Jiangya looked around in panic, but there was no one around. You are the last descendant of my ancient Jiang family. The voice rang out again, but Jiangya couldn't believe it. The ancient Jiang family. Jiangya said with half faith and half doubt. Why have I never heard of it? Jiangya said with a heavy expression, looking around. If it weren't for the wild willow family, how could I be here? After speaking, an old man appeared by Jiangya's side, dressed in white clothes, with white hair and white beard. Chapter 9. The last legitimate bloodline of the Araguojiang family, Hong Ting, hand over the water fairy. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The old man in white reached out and a golden mysterious aura flew into Jiangya's eyebrows. Jiangya suddenly entered a state of enlightenment. He felt a shackle in his heart being lifted, like a fierce beast opening its eyes, and the imprint of inheritance gradually integrated into his body. The memories of the past awakened, and his body and mind suddenly became ethereal, accompanied by progress in cultivation. After a while, Jiangya slowly opened his eyes, and his temperament became stable from the previous anger. The cultivation level has also greatly increased, from the 8 heavens of the Spirit Sea to the peak of the Spirit Sea in one fell swoop, breaking through 2 layers of heaven in a row, which can be said to be a significant increase in cultivation level. Later, he bowed respectfully to the old man in white and said, Jiang, pay respects to the first ancestor. Although covered in injuries and clothes shattered, he still looked like a graceful young master, with a glint in his eyes. Jiangya was once taken in by an old man from the Sentient Holy Land. The old man happened to have the surname Jiang and had little culture, so he gave him the humble name Jiangya. Now his memory has recovered, his cultivation has also improved, and he also remembers his original name, Jiang Qiu. But he didn't plan to change his name. He had to defeat Hong Ting, wash away his shame, and then change his name to welcome a new life. The old man in white comforted his beard and laughed, quickly lifting him up and saying, the revitalization of our Jiang family depends on you, Jiangya. As long as you can obtain the true dragon treasure technique in the true dragon nest, our Jiang family can be revitalized again. Jiang Qiu just shook her head slightly and said regretfully, I used to have the supreme order of the true dragon. The conversation turned and her hands clenched, but it was stolen by Hong Ting. If it weren't for the supreme order of the true dragon, Jiangya would likely have become a servant of Hong Ting and would never be able to turn over. Hong Ting accepted the true dragon supreme order for the purpose of completing the system's mission, and secondly, he also wanted to own the true dragon treasure technique. The old man in white pondered and said, this sun is truly against the heavens. If it weren't for him, I might have been sleeping all along. As the conversation changed, the old man in white encouraged, our Jiang family used to be a family from ancient times. A skinny camel is bigger than a horse, and we can still bring out a piece of the supreme order of a true dragon. Upon hearing these words, Jiang Qiuhui's dark eyes reignited with hope, as if he had already seen the scene of him stepping on Hong Ting and holding the beautiful woman back. Jiang Qiu followed the instructions of the old man in white and planned to go to the ancestral land of the Jiang family, Jiangzhou. Inside the heavenly palace. Just take a stroll around, don't look out. Hong Ting waved his hand to Jiangyi waterway. Later, he turned to Hongzhu and asked, Grandpa, when will the true dragon nest open? Hongzhu showed a surprised expression and said, you actually know the true dragon nest. The true dragon nest is the fall site of the true dragon among the ancient 5 kings, also known as the true dragon ruins. Legend has it that it contains complete true dragon techniques and endless treasures. Hongzhu pondered for a moment and said, 5 years. Upon hearing this answer, Hong Ting felt relieved. It was the same time as the system stated, at least he still had time to grow. The matter of Jiangya and Yishui Fairy is up to Grandpa, Hong Ting bowed his hand. Hongzhu. Immediately after, Sweat said, you look so glamorous. You should leave these dirty and tiring tasks to your grandfather, right? A saint and a fairy are nothing to the Hong family, and the ancient family is also divided into 3, 6, and 9 classes. There has never been a great emperor in the ancestors of the Sentient Holy Land, so it is naturally the weakest group of ancient families. Hongzhu has no choice but to go to the Sentient Holy Land to regulate. Who would let this be his grandson in the next few days? Hong Ting plans to cultivate some of the treasures of the Hong family, but his attack methods are still too few. Name. Ting. Gender. Male. Age. 3 years old. Physical condition. Ancient Holy Body. Double Eyes Treasure Technique. Double Eyes Supreme Technique, Red Lotus Trapping Heaven Technique, Fighting Holy Technique. Ding, the new check.in location has been refreshed, at the Hong Family Scripture Pavilion. It seems that the system is also quite user-friendly. If you know where I am weak, you can make up for what I lack. Ting thought to himself, seeming to be going to the Sutra Pavilion. Ting found Hongjia and asked him for the token to use when entering the Sutra Pavilion. Hongjia directly gave Ting the most precious token of the Hong family, which most elders did not have. The Hong family's Sutra Pavilion is only open to specific areas for specific disciples. Hongjia gave Ting the highest level token, and he can go wherever he wants without any restrictions. Farewell to the Divine Son. In front of the door, 2 gatekeepers respectfully said, and Ting waved his hand. Subsequently, Ting arrived at the door of the Sutra Pavilion and walked into the pale yellow light film. Before Ting could even check the surroundings, the sound of the system rang in his mind. Detected that the host has arrived at the Sutra Pavilion. Do you want to sign in? Sign in. Ting thought to himself. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 3 treasures. Thundering Palm, Lotus Blooming, and 6 Paths Reincarnation Fist. The system's rewards are divided into 1 to 9 stars, and these 3 treasure books are all 7-star rewards, which can be considered very high. Even the low-star rewards given by the system can be snatched by others like treasures in the outside world. Ting was overjoyed. Here are 3 books on the 7-star technique. This system is too grand. Waves of thoughts flooded into Ting's mind like rivers, and all kinds of techniques were memorized in his heart. In the next few days, Ting will continue to practice these 3 martial arts. With these 3 books, he currently does not plan to select them in the Tibetan Scriptures Pavilion of his clan. Not only does it waste time, but it may also not be suitable for oneself. Ting is still happily practicing, but the outside world has already turned upside down, causing boundless waves. In a restaurant towering into the clouds, the highest floor is filled with talented individuals from the cultivation world. Damn it, what does this Hong family goddess mean? Occupying the Yishui ferry alone. You're really shameless, just a few years old kid. He didn't even grow enough hair before he started fighting against us. Jiang Yishui is the most beautiful woman in the 3000 Dao continent, but now she has actively become a follower of Ting, and no one will believe her. And, these people who want to meet Jiang Yishui but are all rejected, how could such an iceberg beauty take the initiative to become someone else's servant? I'll go to the Hong family tomorrow to ask for an explanation. A young man in a green shirt stood up and smashed the table with a palm, gritting his teeth. The people around looked at this young man in shock, only because the young man was Wu Qingming from Qiqing Island in the 3000 Dao continents, and he was the pride of the ancient Wu family. He himself doesn't have much fame, on the contrary, his brother is well known in Qiqing Island. Qiqing Island is located south of Sanxian Daozhou, and most of the southern Daozhou is called Nanzhou. However, there is a talented and almost demonic Tianjiao in Nanzhou, Wu Junyan. Wu Qingming is Wu Junyan's younger brother. Wu Junyan is almost never born, but as long as he is born, he will definitely crush a group of arrogant people. Some even believe that Wu Junyan is the next emperor, and some call him Wu Emperor. When everyone saw the situation, they were filled with righteous indignation and responded one by one, also going to the Hong family to seek an explanation. The next day, many divine birds, mounts, and even the ancient royal family even sent people on horseback to the Hong family, only for one person. The river flows by the water. These people are based on the appearance of Jiang Yishui. How many people dream of becoming a Taoist couple with the most beautiful woman in 30,000 provinces? However, the ancient royal family came from the physique of Jiang Yishui. The sky over the Hong family has long been filled with people. Wu Qingming stood up first and shouted loudly, "Hong Ting, hand over the water fairy." The crowd saw that the head bird spoke first, but no longer held back, and they all started to drink angrily. "That's right, hand over the water fairy. What's the ability to imprison the water fairy? If you have the ability, come to me. I want to see what little Mao's child has." The on-duty disciples have already told the elders of the Hongting clan about this matter, and they plan to let Hongting handle it on his own, while also seeing how strong this divine son is. After learning this news, Hongting only smiled slightly and did not feel too much pressure. On the contrary, he is very confused. Isn't she just the most beautiful fairy in the 3000 Dao continent, attracting so many young heroes? Chapter 10. Suppression of all of you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. These people were playing around in front of the Hong family, and Hong Ting didn't mind. He intervened to suppress them, but he wanted to know why a woman could attract so many young prodigies. Is it because they like Jiangyi water? Not everyone is, right? Outside the Hong family gate, many cultivators are still issuing challenge letters, asking Hong Ting to hand over Jiang Yishui, including the immortal sage of the immortal power and even the prince of the immortal dynasty. Many guardians hide in the void to prevent accidents. Suddenly, there was a click. The gate of the Hong family opened, and many cultivators looked towards it. A young man slowly walked towards it. He was dressed in a red robe and stood with his hands down. Everyone looked together, but it was difficult to see the true appearance of the young man clearly, like a wisp of fairy mist, with auspicious energy soaring. Many cultivators only felt a strange fragrance emanating from their surroundings, which was fragrant and refreshing, making them intoxicated and unable to extricate themselves. As the young man approached closer and closer, the fragrance became more and more intense, gradually turning into flowing lights and colorful mist, like a light veil. Everyone looked at the young man, as if a layer of chaos had covered their eyes, making it difficult to see clearly, but the only thing they could see was his indifferent expression. "Hongjia Shensi, hand over the Yishui fairy," Wu Qingming said, with a hint of threat, pulling everyone out of their drunkenness. Wu Qingming is the legitimate descendant of the immortal Wu family, the younger brother of Wu Zhenyan, and even joined the Tsangu Holy Land. He is the holy son of the Tsangu Holy Land. He has enough background power to hold Hong Ting accountable. "What are you?" Hong Ting said calmly. Upon hearing this, many cultivators were shocked. Even Wu Qingming's face darkened, as if he could drip water. No one had ever dared to speak to him like that. "Do you know the physique of the water fairy, so you dare to stay without authorization?" Wu Qingming forced himself to remain calm. Hong Ting finally realized that it was because of Jiang Yishui's physical condition, which he really didn't know. He only knew that his grandfather had put in a lot of effort to handle this matter, but Jiangye was able to handle it. Jiang Yishui's Xiantian Holy Land never let go. There was no other choice, but a few profound sages walked out of the ancestral tomb of the Hong family and went to the Xiantian Holy Land to beg for a few cups of tea to drink. Without saying a word, the Holy Master of Xiantian handed over Jiang Yishui's life card to the Hong family, claiming that Jiang Yishui would become a member of the Hong family in the future. The Hong family is an ancient family that holds a cow's ear in 3,000 provinces and even 9 heavens and 10 lands. The great emperor of their ancestors even reached the level of immortality, even surpassing immortality. Rich cultural heritage. Seeing Hong Ting without reason. Without saying a word, Wu Qingming directly took action, tearing open the sky with a large blue hand that covered the sky and sun. His fingertips were ferocious and intimidating, and he came to suppress it. Hong Ting's golden energy and blood surged, and he reached out a golden fist, pressing against his blue big hand. Everyone was surprised, and the blue hand launched a fierce and swift attack, while Hong Ting only reached out with one hand and clenched his fist against it. This was undoubtedly hitting the stone with an egg and asking for his own trouble. "Are you crazy? Is this Hong family godson crazy?" taking over divine power with bare hands. Seeking death. Wu Qingming snorted coldly in his heart. At the next moment, everyone was in an uproar. At the moment when the blue palm was about to touch Hong Ting's fist, it transformed into divine energy and drifted away with the wind. Is that it? Hong Ting spoke calmly, with a slight smile on his lips, standing in front of the door, motionless. The physical strength of the ancient holy body is comparable to that of a divine weapon, extremely hard. This power cannot even harm Hong Ting, and cannot even be considered as itching. Hong Ting didn't feel any pressure. Arrogant. Wu Qingming scolded and reached out to grab the void. A silver gun appeared in his hand. Above the dragon spear, a white dragon meanders upwards, with the tip of the spear spitting out from the mouth of the white dragon. The silver spear is as hard as black iron, rich in vast magical power. The strong gunshot caused ripples in the void, and with a wave of his arm, it emitted a heavy aura. "Is this a silver dragon spear?" exclaimed the Tianjiao, his eyes fixed on the dragon spear, his eyes burning with envy. This silver gun was stolen by Wu Junyan and has never been used before. It turned out to have been given to his younger brother. This silver spear weighs 108,000 pounds, making it difficult for ordinary Tianjiao to wield. Wu Qingming wielded a silver spear and waved it, as if transforming into a divine being. Just standing there, he had an unparalleled posture, with vast magical power surging and emitting a divine glow throughout his body. Suddenly thrusting towards Hong Ting, the void twisted, cold rays burst forth, tilting the battlefield, and the magical power was as vast as the sea. A strong murderous aura struck, but Hong Ting stood still, motionless, with a face as calm as an ancient well. A strong gust of wind struck first, and Hong Ting's clothing was fluttering, with green threads dancing. His black hair was like a waterfall, and his roots were crystal clear, like a fairy, like a dream, shrouded in confusion. Hong Ting raised his hand and grabbed it, evoking the evolution of the holy method of fighting. A strong spell struck, even more so than a dragon spear. Wu Qingming felt uneasy and wanted to withdraw, but it was too late, and his face suddenly changed. Bang! Hong Ting grabbed the silver gun with one hand, and with a strong grip, the silver gun burst open, and Wu Qingming flew out backwards. The silver spear also split into pieces of scrap iron in Wu Qingming's eyes. Although the dark iron is strong, the ancient holy body is comparable to a divine weapon, fearless and even has surplus strength. "You're too weak," Hong Ting said calmly. This silver spear was gifted to Wu Qingming by Wu Junyan, and has always been regarded by Wu Qingming as his strongest treasure, but now it has turned into scrap iron. This has dealt him a deep blow. "Hong Ting, don't be arrogant." A prince of the immortal dynasty stood up, walking with a dragon and a tiger. The laws of the imperial path are pervasive around, and dragon energy is intertwined. Hong Ting gave him a sideways glance and didn't pay any attention to him. He said calmly, "Let's go up together." Many cultivators trembled all over. What arrogance is this? Those present are undoubtedly not the young generation of Tianjiao Junjie. Are you just one person who wants to suppress them all? This imperial prince was not used to Hong Ting at all. He held the dragon seal in his hand and walked straight towards Hong Ting. Boom! A seal fell, accompanied by the sound of dragons, and dozens of real dragon shadows rushed down towards Hong Ting, trying to tear him into pieces. Hong Ting evolved the red lotus breaking heaven fist through the method of fighting and defeating, and at the point of the fist's sharpness, there seems to be a 9-petal red lotus blooming. The void trembled, with a fierce punch piercing straight towards the dragon's head. Boom! Dozens of real dragon shadows were shattered by Hong Ting's punch, like glass shattered on the ground. Jiang Yishui is my follower, and now he belongs to my sect. If anyone is dissatisfied, just stand up, Hong Ting said calmly, with no expression on his face. It was as if suppressing two saintly figures was as simple as drinking water, and everyone was silent and speechless. Hand over the water fairy. The imperial prince stood up again and threatened. Hee, I'm still afraid of your threat. Hong Ting smiled calmly, not looking at him at all. If you don't get out of here, suppress your entry into the toilet. Hong Ting shouted angrily, his heavy pupils bursting with divine energy. The prince clenched his hands tightly, his eyes seeming to crack, and he wished he could peel off the skin of Hong Ting and pull his tendons. Death, the prince shouted loudly. The void shattered, and a sword appeared in his hand. Quaint and outdated. Holy soldier, Kai Tian sword, this is the eldest prince of the Kai Tian dynasty. A cultivator recognized the sword and exclaimed in shock. Since the beginning of the war, the imperial prince has been covering his face with a ray of dragon aura, making it difficult for others to see his true face. Only then did he reveal his flaws and make people recognize him. Prince, no way, an old man in the void stopped. Everyone is a young generation, there is no such thing as a holy weapon. If he takes out his holy weapon, even if he wins, it is still invincible. Hong Ting sneered and said, lose, suppress you in the toilet, win, welcome back to Jiang Yishui. Do you dare to bet? The prince was already overwhelmed with anger at this moment, and without waiting for the sage's advice, he agreed, if you lose, I still want your head. Immediately, it chopped down, shattering the void, as if splitting open the sky and shattering the stars. Hong Ting pinched the red lotus seal in his hand, using the holy method of battle to evolve. The void rippled and a vision came from the air. Red lotus flowers emerge in the void one by one. If you count them carefully, it is not difficult to find that the red lotus flowers are all 9-petal, emitting anomalies. The prince wielded a sword with both hands and swung it down with force, accompanied by a hint of imperial dragon energy. The sword blade cleaved through the void and collided head-on with the red lotus, causing the void to tremble. At this time, the prince was a cultivator in the realm of Dao Gong, with a cultivation level higher than that of Hong Ting. Now the battle with Hong Ting is extremely difficult, and the two are inseparable, but Hong Ting still has the upper hand. The red lotus exploded, and the prince flew out upside down. Hong Ting's mind moved and summoned the four-sided cauldron. The ancient and heavy aura emanated, pouring down, and the powerful suction sucked in the prince. Prince! The void shattered, an old man walked out, and the breath of a saint filled the air, saving the prince. He took action and 10 dragons flew down, killing the strong aura of the holy realm, shattering the void and striking to kill Hong Ting. Hong Ting just gave a faint smile and did not take any action. Boom! The 10 flying dragons suddenly dissipated, and the strong ones in the holy realm coughed up blood in their mouths, flew backwards, and crashed into the ground. Suddenly, the whole room fell silent. Is this the 6th ancestor of the Hong family? Exclaimed a famous guest, looking at a figure in white in the distance with a trembling tone and weak legs. Chapter 11. What about the immortal empire? Double pupils show their sharpness at the beginning. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text.